At the time, in the meantime, when I thought I could be doing the best for everybody else, I'm not at all trying to make sure that I can make any kind of progress for myself first, because I'm not at all kind of like fasting myself, and we kind of like trying to getting myself, I could be endeavor making sure that I could be eating my stuff, because I'm not at all victual and kind of went down and kind of like vindictive for myself, because I'm not kind of devouring my own kind of self swagger, because I could be flagging on everybody else, and not I could be like splurging on everybody else's kind of struggle for my own kind of self sake, because I could be having to be getting myself, I could be like eating enough, eating from everybody else's kind of struggle to making myself being a part of a less kind of like clan of my struggle, because I'm not kind of like sagging in my mind. At the same time, I could be doing the best for my business, because I'm not all trying to getting everybody else to feel like they could be talking some kind of a shit for myself, and not at all willing to make sure that they could be talking the same kind of like past, present, and future for myself about on it, because I had to do so that I could be letting everybody else to go believing about the fact that I could be talking in kind of like ways to say that I could be like formidable, kind of like far more comfortable for myself, because I'm kind of like far more stable for myself, because I'm kind of like getting myself being kind of only being kind of spread for across everybody else, because I could be serving across the notions of kind of like face to make sure I could be like the stable table for everybody else, on which they could be like keeping the plate and making sure they could be having to be eating their own kind of eatery for the time being. Now I'm never going to be the case, never had it been so that, because I could be the table, they could be like taking the plates, taking the kind of food on it, I could be taking everything that's kind of edible for myself, because I'm not going to let everybody else to say that they could be surviving with any kind of thing, except for yes, but definitely I'm not at all letting on everybody else even kind of surviving on shit. They could be giving kind of starvation for even kind of shit for themselves, only kind of a thing that need to be having to be done is that they could be like resetting a shit or resetting another shit. That's why they could be having to be like shitful in their life. That's why we call it kind of a shit for themselves, kind of like this kind of like speculation or kind of long span, or this kind of what you call say this kind of like horizon, or the kind of like orientation of life, because they could be getting themselves being careful like getting them swinging kind of like swinging on their kind of mind, because I'm not trying to getting on everybody else to say they could be swinging on the kind of like feel kind of being, because I could be not at all trying to getting myself being kind of like able to say what is needed to be having like figured out in here, because I'm looking for into any kind of like intuition for myself, because I'm looking for intuitive by myself, or we're not looking for intuitive by myself kind of ways to make sure that I could be like thinking, or kind of figuring out what is have to be like speaking, or what is have to be like not being I will be capable of making myself, I could be like capable of making myself like making this kind of mistake, because I could be like keeping a pill, because I'm not going to keep pill for myself, because I'm looking for like keeping myself at the same kind of time, because I could be like getting myself being careful like trying to getting myself being kind of like at the same kind of one, because I'm not trying to getting myself be careful like overly outdated for myself, kind of struggle for the same kind of time. At the same time, there has to be something that has to be like getting myself be kind of like out of my limit, because my limit is not at all being limitly kind of given to myself, because I'm kind of limitless in my own kind of self kind of custody, because my self limit is not at all kind of limited by myself kind of limitlessness, because I'm kind of not at all limited from my own kind of self endeavor at any kind of given spend, or kind of giving non-spend, or kind of given non-spendable, or giving kind of spendable, or giving for a moment, or kind of like pros cons, or whatever kind of like fix of time, because I had been so that I could be letting on everybody else to say they could be talking the best about myself, and never gonna be the case for myself for my own best here, because I could be getting myself being kind of deliberately say what is it to be having figuring out yes by not by myself, because I'm not kind of keeping myself at the same kind of time, because I had so that I could be look kind of like couple myself with anybody else, and give me the case, because I'm not all getting myself being kind of like getting myself at the same kind of like platform for myself kind of ways to say that I could be saying some kind of a thing that has to be like spoken to myself, so as to say that I could be not at all talking for myself one, because I could be talking on everybody else talk that they could be talking about me for, because I'm not all letting everybody else to make any kind of talk, rather they could be like talking for themselves first, they could be not at all talking for me, because I could be letting on everybody else to make sure that the talkativeness that there has to be like talking for myself, that has to be making sure that they could be like making any kind of utterance that is up against me or for me to make sure, or make kind of like contour myself, to make sure they could be having to be make sure about themselves, because I'm not kind of like not at all demoniac in my mind, because I'm not at all trying to get myself being kind of like in decision kind of driven by myself kind of like say across by myself kind of one, because I could be having getting on everybody else to say that they could be talking some kind of foul about myself, because I'm not at all reluctant or kind of like restive in my kind of endeavor for myself to meet myself in any kind of like given moment of time, because I could be like not at all being two faced, that I could be making myself or kind of making myself feel for myself being kind of like felt the driven by myself for myself kind of like feel fact, because I'm not looking for free flow about to say that I could be the same kind of rap for myself, because I could be talking on everybody else to say that I could be not at all trying to say they could be taking a feel take a tip ice, or we kind of hide low, because I'm not looking for hitting on kind of self, because I'm not looking for hitting yes for myself on one, they could be giving a music in that kind of background. I'm not trying to getting myself not at being kind of like diversified by thing, because my devastation will be kind of like says to make sure that I could be feeling some and kind of like getting myself being kind of like demoniac or kind of domineer or kind of like getting myself being kind of say that I could be like not talk to me and kind of like run thumb board for myself so as to getting myself I could be like being kind of a rhino of this kind of like national park for myself so as to making themselves being like they could be getting themselves being kind of hooked on me horn in the kind of like what it be so as to make sure they could be getting themselves being kind of kill at the moment of this kind of deck free because I'm not kind of indexing on everybody else not at all trying to make sure they could be like in coordination or kind of like in coordination with anybody else because my indication for myself is not at all getting on everybody else to get themselves being kind of like getting themselves being kind of like getting themselves being kind of outdated for themselves kind of one they could be getting themselves being kind of killed. That's why they never be able to say that they can have it